Hi everyone, I wanted to start this video with a quick reminder that if you're watching this on YouTube only, I really encourage you to click through the link below each video to the transcript that accompanies each lesson. I think you'll get more out of each lesson this way. I go more in depth on every lesson in the written transcript than I do in the videos, and I have different resources for each lesson so that you can further your learning on each topic as you see fit. With that out of the way, let's move on to today's lesson. When you're in production, you have four main work relationships. You have your crew, which we discussed in lesson 3. You have the client. You have your boss and superiors, which we're going to go over in lesson 8, and then you have other production teams, which is going to be the focus of today's lesson. Working with other production teams may seem like a relatively minor occurrence in the grand scheme of things. I find it rather unfortunate that there isn't more focus on this aspect of teamwork or team building in the animation industry, because after all, other people in production, they're your peers. Usually you have one production team per show or line. Production teams therefore end up pretty defined, and depending on your studio structure, you will have more or less opportunities to interact and collaborate with each other. Some instances in which you would collaborate with other production teams include putting together teams for test projects, using shared spaces like boardrooms, dailies rooms, theaters, etc., and swapping artists and/or resources, which include seat moves. What's wonderful about coming together with other production teams is that you have a group of people who are going through the exact same thing that you are. And after all, 2, 3, 4 heads are better than one, right? It is important to remember when working with other production teams that we all have the same goal. All production teams, regardless of the other show's priority at the time, should want other shows to succeed and treat them with respect. If a studio loses a show and is unable to find homes for people on that line, everyone else in the studio loses. You could see your friends and coworkers lose their jobs and go work for competitors. When a show fails or is failing, it is bad for morale studio-wide, regardless of your own personal feelings for that project. All shows are tied up in your studio's reputation, which ultimately serves you and your teams. Remember, each show is work and stability. An important thing to remember when coming together with other production teams is to maintain privacy. When production teams get together, we invariably share information about our show, our crew, etc. While other PMs are often your biggest ally and resources in coming up with clever solves, remember to maintain the confidence of those who have shared personal information with you. Venting to your fellow coordinators is one thing, outing your colleagues, for example, is quite another. You're not merely gossiping, you're coming together to create the best studio possible. The last thing to remember when working with other production teams is to lift as you rise. Be the production manager, the producer, etc., to grant the opportunity to someone who was you just a few years ago, someone who's very keen and eager to learn and just needs their chance to shine. Remember, there is room for all of us at the top, especially in an industry that is growing as quickly as ours is. While some spirit of competition is healthy and even to be expected in business, it need not be cutthroat or unkind. It is much better to be remembered as someone in production who is generous, inclusive, and welcoming.